Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Aho here with KissAnalog.com. Today what I want to do is review 2 meters meant for electricians use. But they're also great for the bench. So they're just really good multi-purpose meters, but they are specifically at least labeled for electricians. At least this one says Electricians Multimeter right on it. This is the Fluke 117, okay? And this is the ideal 480 series, but it's the 61486. So both of these meters are in a series of meters. There's different models. They're both top of the line. You know, the more expensive model, the highest number in the series. There are different ones in the Fluke series that have some different features, okay? Like, let's say, I think the Fluke 116 has temperature. It's called an HVAC meter, so it has temperature. This one has all the features of any of the meter in the Fluke line, as far as I know. It has all of them, plus it has more than any of them. So this is a full-featured meter. We're going to look at it, and that's why I thought it was a great meter to compare to this. Now, I had bought the Fluke 117 once before, and I think I reviewed it against this Fluke's 18B Plus. So I'll put the link for that review below. This one's made in China, the 18B Plus. I don't even think you're supposed to buy it in the States. I got it on eBay. This one's made in Malaysia, and this one's made in Taiwan. Alright. The thing that makes them similar is they're both UL tested categories, although this one's category 4, this one's category 3. So this one's higher safety rating, the highest multimeters are rated at, and this one's one notch lower. Okay, which I think is interesting since it's an electrician's meter. You think they'd go to Cat 4, but they didn't. So anyway, I'm going to show you a board that shows you the differences between the meters. Other than that, there's a lot of similarities, and we'll take a close look at that. So here, let me just show you this board, okay? Oh, and just before I show you the board, I mentioned I bought this once before. I actually returned it. It's the first time I've ever bought something I've reviewed and returned, because I know that I've heard some reviewers buy products and they buy them just to review them and then they send them back. And I don't do that. I don't think that's right. But I did in the case of this just because I disliked it so much. So there's a caveat there. Now, of course, these reviews are my opinion. But I'm just kind of trying to show 2 meters side by side. And that's why a lot of the reviews I show meters side by side, so you have something to look at and compare to, other than just, I have seen people review this meter. The Fluke has provided the meter, which I'm going to tell you that if Fluke is providing meters to reviewers, they like them because they talk nice about them. I don't talk, I don't hold back. And the one knock I found on Fluke is, well, there's 2 knocks, is their price is always high for no reason other than they can. I know that people, Mr. Dave in Australia, he and I kind of went back and forth on this, and he got a bunch of views on a video I did about Flukes being overpriced, a rant that I did, and I still stand by that, and I think he's just been nice. And I know a lot of people say, oh, he wasn't just being nice, there's reasons why, and I can debate all those reasons. I'm an engineer and have always just believed in them. I was always a Fluke fan until I started this channel and started seeing all these other meters that are just as safe, if not safer, and again, in my opinion, and that offer so many more features for less money. Now that Fluke 189 over there, if you can see it in camera, I don't know if you can. Anyway, this Fluke 189 is actually my favorite Fluke meter, which they stopped making because I believe they did, because they didn't want to kill the Fluke 87 cells. The 87 cells, lots of, I believe, vendors buy that meter because they buy them year in, year out, and that's why they haven't ever changed that model number. 87.5 now. It's like 20 years old, I believe. which that meter is as well. I did a review on the Fluke 87, the Classic 87. I'll put that link down below. I need to review that 189. That's an awesome meter. By far better than the 87, in my opinion. Anyway, these two meters, this is a well-known meter. That's why I bought it, so I could review against other electrician meters. So just wanted to put that out there so you can see where I'm coming from. And I put all my Flukes out here. I didn't put them all out. I've got more Flukes. I got the 289 up there, which I think's the worst Fluke ever made. The Fluke 12. I got that temperature probe. I got other Flukes around, but I just wanted to put out a few. I got the 87 5, and that's actually in a bag that I took to a job site and left there. I'm going to get it again, but it's just, you know. So, back to the review. Sorry about that. Kind of went off. Let me show you the board. Let's compare these two. I just think that this meter is worth a look at, and so that's why I bought it. And once I got it and looked at it up close, I'm really impressed with it, and I really want to get it out of that package so I can test it and turn on the display, put batteries in it, and see if it tests or looks as good as I hope it does, because it just seems like such a good deal. So let me show you why. Alright, I hope the light's not glaring on this board. So, prices first of all. They're both on sale. I think this is 9% off on Amazon, so that's an Amazon price today. And this is Amazon price, and that's on sale. I think it's, I want to say, geez, I can't remember, 10% off, something like that. So it's $239.99 today and $158.50. Now, I have seen these prices for a while now, so I think it's not like, you know, a sale that's here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. But anyway, I'm not sure, so can't stand by that. Here's Ideal 61-486, the Fluke 117. Okay, this is a list of things that are different between the meters, because there's a lot of things that, you know, a lot of the features that they have that are the same. We're going to see if they function the same and how they look compared to each other, but this is a list of things that are different. So they are both safety rated, third party tested, Cat 3, Cat 4, so the Cat 4 obviously better. Cat 4 600 volts, Cat 3 1000 volts. This is Cat 3 600 volts. So, you know, a level below this one for sure. Okay, this one for current readings has two inputs for current readings. One fused at 10 amps, one at 600 milliamps. This one only fused at 10 amps. Doesn't have the milliamp input. Okay. The bar graph, if you like bar graphs, this one's 62 segments. This is 33 segments. Overall accuracy is 0.08 on this one, less than 1%, which is really great, and 0.5% on this one. And like I say, they both have hold features, but this one has a peak hold, and it has a smart hold, which a lot of people like in the Fluke meters. This one doesn't have the smart hold. This has a hold feature, but not smart hold. This one has smart hold, peak hold, and this one also has temperature, which the Fluke 116 I think does. And I forget what feature they take away. Might be capacitance. I'm not sure. Anyway, well, I'm not sure. Anyway, just saying that in the Fluke series, some of those series have different features. There's trade-offs. Where in this one, there's a series as well, and for every meter going up in the series, they have more and more features. Where 486 has all of the features. Okay, so it has, you know, so that's the way it is. But look at that price. I think that right there, I mean, if I'm looking at a counter, don't know anything about the meters, I'm buying that one for sure, right? No question. The only reason you buy this one is because that name. Alright, so we're going to bring the camera over and show you these meters. And as far as that price, when you consider this one has a magnetic holder and the case and better test leads, well, we're going to find out. I say better test leads because ones that come with these meters are just terrible. The ones that come with these, it's the same one that comes with these. They're just terrible, which is sad because the company that owns Fluke also owns a test lead company called Pomona. They are great test leads. I don't know why they don't allow these guys to sell better leads. Anyway, let's bring the camera over, take a close look. Hey guys, so here's the meters, the packages. Oh, a little bit of glare on them, sorry about that. So you can see, similar. Now, although the Fluke is smaller, it's actually heavier. I think it's 1.2 pounds. And, you know, double check me on all this stuff. I'm just trying to give my best numbers I can. But I think it's 1.2 pounds, where this is 1 pound or 1.1 pound. So it's just slightly lighter. But it's interesting that it's heavier. And they're similar in size, but it's a little bit shorter. So, yeah, there you go. Here's a close-up of the package, if you want to read that. See, it says Electricians Meter. Volt alert. They're great at marketing, right? Other people call it non-contact voltage, but volt alert. So they both have that. So let's just kind of talk about what they both have. Well, here, let me show you this one. Okay. Cat 4. So just kind of pointing that out. Now, one thing that's nice about this meter is the package. If you're shopping, you can actually turn it over and read the specs. And, you know, that's kind of nice, right? UL listed. CE, of course, but UL is what you care about for electricians, for actual, like, third-party test safety. And the back there just shows you this. So it gets worse. I'll show you the insides too in a minute. And here's those crummy leads. I don't see anybody can argue that fact, that they're just crummy. Okay, now here's the meters up close. Okay. Alright guys, so you know what? I just thought maybe I should just take them out of the package so I don't have that glare and it's easier to see. And as a matter of fact, I can kind of do an opening here, right? Okay, here, let's pull out the, well, here, I guess, first things first, the leads, okay? Pull those out. Now, here's the thing about this. It comes with this guy, the Fluke, and it comes with this. If you look close, it says safety information. It's not a you know, manual. That's the manual, this little thing. So, well, here, I'll just show you. This one has, it's thick, like a manual. It's a bunch of different languages, but it's just safety information. Has some specs right here about batteries and, you know, that kind of stuff. The altitude, all that stuff. And you know what? This does have an IP rating, ingress for protection rating. IP42, which is pretty minimal, but at least it calls it out. It does not call a drop test, right? That's one thing that Fluke's always been famous for, but they don't even test that. And that's it. And then it goes into another language. A bunch of different languages. So, yeah, you don't get a manual with this, guys. This is your manual. So, really no text. It's just for pictures, because this is sold in Malaysia. I guess they figured that picture's worth 1,000 words. So that's your manual. So if you want to know what the specs are, you don't get it. You got to go to their website and look at it. Unlike this one, where it just kind of shows you right here. They're not afraid to show you because they're great specs. Okay, so you get that. You get the leads, and nothing in here, just in case you're wondering. And what's funny, I think it's hilarious actually, hey look guys, go spend 40 bucks on a, or whatever it is. I did a review on these things too. These magnetic holders that they have, and I show some $10 ones or really inexpensive ones that are, as far as I can tell, they're made the same as this one, no better. This thing's, yeah, anyway, I just think it's funny, like, they go to the trouble to print this and stick it in there when they could have just gave you the thing, especially for the price. So, yeah, little upset with Fluke for gouging so much, but anyway, that's the way it is. They show the safety under here, CE, UL, CSA. So, and it's 9-volt battery. They're both 9-volt batteries, by the way. There's one screw to get to the 9-volt battery. So, and it has the holder here, so you can put your thing in there, the holder for the leads. And this is the old kind of stand they had, which is, I think, their better stand, which, you know, I don't know why, like, the more expensive ones have crummy stands, but, and then, you know, it has this kind of jacket. So, anyway, we're going to open them up, show you the guts inside, okay? So that's unpackaging of that guy. And I'll show you the test leads here in a minute. We'll kind of open them up together so you can see side by side. And by the way, I don't know what these test leads look like for my Diode, but I just know they're going to be better because everybody's leads are better. Certificate of conformance you actually get. Warranty registration you actually get. I think it's 2-year warranty on this. Fluke might be 3-year, I'm not sure. It's 2 or 3 year. And you actually get a real manual, you can tell. Okay, so this one has different languages in it as well, but it actually has, you know, a data, you know, manual with it, which is really nice. 0.08%, 62 segment, and they're both 6,000 count. So let's kind of go through it. They both have 6,000 count. Okay, they both have bar graphs. This one just has almost twice the digits. They both have backlights. They're both True RMS. 0.08%. You know, I kind of showed you the differences. You know, one very important thing I missed is this one also has this AC+DC. God, I forgot about that. Like, only Fluke's most expensive meters have that. So that's really cool. Frequency counter, I think they're both 100 kilohertz. Yeah, low battery indicator. Auto power off, 20 minutes. I believe Fluke is 15, I'm not sure, but they're both about the same. You can both override that, you know, turning them on, holding a button down. So, yeah, it's funny how they say test leads, temperature probe, user manual, carry case, 9-volt battery, but it doesn't point out the magnetic holder. So I think that was kind of funny, because how much Fluke charges for them, you think these guys would brag that they're giving it to you for free. And then it has the pictures like Fluke's thing had, with some words along with it. And you can see what we're going to see when we open it up. It has 2 fuses in it because it has both the amps and the milliamp. So you have 4 receptacles at the front end versus the 3 on the Fluke. So yeah, there's their manual, all that stuff. Here's their bag. And it's kind of a canvas bag, I guess. Whoops, I just pulled both. Oh, so there's 2 zippers. You can zip it either way, so that's kind of nice. It has a pocket here. They're foam protected. Has a couple straps to hold the meter in. Oh, it actually comes with the alligator clips. I don't even think they mentioned that. So, and these are the nice ones with the plastic tipped or plastic covered alligator leads, plus the soft shroud around them. So yeah, that's nice. Temperature probe, and the magnetic deal. Okay, we'll see how that fits in there. But the multimeter hanging kit, isn't that funny that they give you these things, and well, they give you these things they don't even mention. And then here's their test leads. By the way, one way to show flexibility is just let it dangle over your finger. See how it dangles, and I can roll it. I can flip it over so you can see it dangle the other way. So it's not, you know, it's just flopping around, right? Okay, that's just the floppy parts. Let's pull out Fluke's, and look at that. It doesn't dingle. They're just stiff as can be. So we'll take off the thing. I just want to do this in front of you. This is the first time I've done it, obviously, because you can see how stiff they are. Oh, by the way, they stay this stiff for a long time. So, yeah, there's their test leads, okay? There's really no give. You know, there's very little. I mean, there's soft rubber here, kind of, but you can see I'm pulling. They don't really give that much. I hear people say they break. I never use these, so I don't know. And people say they break here, and I don't doubt that because they're so stiff. You can see, I hope that comes across in camera how stiff they are, but look at that. I'm pointing that up in the air if you can't tell. I'm rotating around, it's just stiff as can be. The other thing is this is what you put on for the safety, and I can't believe how easy these just pop off. And these are brand new. You can imagine after a few pop-offs, you can tell they're just super loose. I'm just not a fan. I don't know anybody that's a fan of these. They say Cat 2 on them, but they're Cat 3 with the cap. Okay? So that cap's only good if it stays on. These caps, look, I have to kind of tug. They have this little ridge down here, and these things say Cat 2 1000 volts, and then with this on, you get the Cat 3 and Cat 4 rating, okay? And you have to kind of tug on them. Plus, they don't have that thing that makes them so easy to pop off. And also, if you're trying to take measurements, you can fit this down into things with the insulation around it, where this guy forces you to have a gap. You got the plastic that should be an insulator, but also they force you to have the spacing. And then you have that much of the tip coming out, if you can tell. See the difference between them. So, but you can see these have actual tension relief built into them, okay? Where the Flukes do not. I mean, it's a little bit soft here, but you can see I'm pushing kind of hard. You see my fingernail changing color. And look at these. On both ends. So you can see how easy they are. So they got little grippy things here on the side to help you pull them out. Let's look at Flukes. Yeah, there's no grippy thing. They're just smooth round. So they're just, man, it just baffles me how they can provide leads as crappy as that. And then look at this. They just flop apart. I mean, they're not silicone. They feel, I mean, compared to those, they feel like they are, but I'm sure they're not, because silicone wouldn't have any bends at all. They would just be, they just flop over, you know, be super soft. But these are your normal PVC test aids, which are relatively soft. Now the probes themselves, this plastic has got a little texture. It's kind of soft. As a matter of fact, there's a little bit of a, you know, give on these things. And these things right here are soft, like grippy. So, so you're supposed to keep your finger behind this shroud for safety reasons. And it's easy with this grippy thing where, let's pull up the Fluke one again. They are kind of soft texture, a little bit, you know, but there's no grippy thing. There's not even, you know, there's no ribs or anything on that. So, guys, come on, man. They can do better. I mean, the company that owns them owns a test lead, you know, company. So, my heck. All right, so let's see what else we got. I already showed you the manual. It has this little thing we saw before. And here's the meter. And one thing I just realized, I don't see batteries fall out of either one of them, did I? Oh yeah, here's the 9-volt battery here. You know, it's interesting that these low-cost Fluke meters, I realize they put the batteries inside them. They ship them with them, which I've heard, reading the comments, I've heard people having trouble, like really dangerous trouble, because the battery came loose in shipping or whatever, which is kind of weird to me, but anyway, super heavy duty. So there's your battery. It's got plastic covering on it. And yeah, so I'm sure when I turn on the Fluke, yep, battery's in it. That, I'm still a little bit surprised about that. So, okay, so let's take a look at these. Pre-rigid, so it's going to hold your test seat pretty strong. And these are a little bit softer, so, you know, now there's give and take. I've seen some of these where they're so soft that they don't hold the meter lead. Some of them are so stiff that it's hard, you know, you kind of pry them in there. And you can see the little accessory here. That's pretty soft. And the Fluke one. So then this part is like hard plastic on both of them. So similar construction. Yeah, but you know what? They don't put any of the stuff Fluke does on it, which I like. The Fluke does that. They, I'm looking on the front. I don't see it on the front either. See on the front, this one says Cat 3, and Ideal says Cat 4, 600 volts, 1000 volts. Fluke is 600 volts, Cat 3. So as far as the safety ratings go, Ideal definitely wins. As far as the current goes, they have one connection here. This one has that one plus the milliamp. So for reading current, it wins as well. If you're only trying to read milliamps, you don't have to go to a 10 amp scale on this one and have the milliamp thing fail and have to rely on the 10 amp to take it off, where, you know, over here you got the 2 levels of safety. Okay, let's take them out of there. Well, actually, here, you know what? I'm going to put batteries in this so we can look at the displays, and I'll go through selections one at a time. You know, since I'm going to do that, I may as well take them both out of their boot, right? So normally I find taking out the big end on these meters, or on any meter, makes it easier. So it comes out of there pretty easy. Now I can tell you this one's kind of thin, especially, you know, it's just a thinner boot. So that's probably why it weighs less than the Fluke. Because, well, actually this one, okay, I don't know. Maybe I talked too soon. Let me take it off. It's smaller, so it's going to... Yeah, no, you know what? They're pretty close to the same, I guess. They're both pretty flexible and pretty thin, so I don't know. This piece back here is definitely kind of thinner than this one. This feels a little more chunky because it's made for a strap to go around, where this one just hooks in. So a little different construction there. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to put the... Okay, well, let's look at the back again. Okay, so this guy's part of the deal on this one. On this one is part of the meter. So if you don't want to use the plastic holster, which I don't know why you would, but anyway, if you didn't want to, you could use it by itself, or this one doesn't have a stand by itself. I'm pretty sure that everybody's going to use them with the little rubber holsters. Now this is where they put all the UL stuff. And you know what? I guess that makes sense, because when you open this, you see the back of the meter. And so, you know, that's why the Ideal you didn't see, because it was in the holster. So there's the information there. Alright, so looks like one screw here, 2 little finger grips here to pull the cover off. And this one has this guy. I can tell you right now, the Ideal one, this plastic feels thinner right here around the battery. The rest of it feels really, you know, strong. So here, let's open it up, put a battery in it. Alright, it actually was on there pretty tight. It has these little things down here, these little hooks that grab right here. And it has this little thing here with maybe a Mylar piece of tape or something down there to, I guess, maybe so the battery doesn't rattle against the plastic. And then it has the foam thing down here for the same reason. And you do see the circuit boards. It looks like, wow, it looks like 2 layers of circuit boards in here. You know what? We're going to just tear the thing apart. We're going to just open them up right now, okay? And then we'll compare the features after we look at the insides. Alright guys, so this one had 2 screws, and I took this one off, which just removed the battery compartment. I don't think I had to remove this. I think I can pop it open now, which kind of surprises me. It only has 2 screws here, so we'll see if I can open it, but I don't see any other thing holding it. This one had 2 screws here, 2 screws here, so there's the 4 screws. There's the 2 screws that came out of here, and they both have machined screws, you know, that go into these inserts. So that part's the same. This part has the little metal clips on the board that the battery squeezes against, and also has foam like that one in the bottom of it to hold this, and it has these things here so you can't, you know, put the terminals in. You can't put the battery in backwards because it won't fit, so that's awesome. This one has this guy, which does the same thing. You can't put the battery in backwards, but just different technique. Okay, so let's open up the Fluke. Okay, I believe there's a little clip up here. I don't know if I just pry it open or if I get a screwdriver to pop open the other end. I think I'm going to get a screwdriver. There we go. That's the way to do it. Okay, so that comes apart that way. Alright, there we go. That's off. Now, just to point out the niceness of the Flukes, you know, always a deep lip. There's lots of features. It's very rigid box. That goes against the buzzer, I guess. They don't want it to be too loud. Maybe the buzzer is too bloody loud without that. So, and then this is probably for the antenna for the non-contact voltage thing. It looks like a shield, but I think it's the, I think it's actually the, well, I'm not sure, but I think it's the antenna. And so it has these kind of, you know, binding posts. So screw here. It's interesting that they marked it. Somebody marked it like they checked it, I guess, to show that they made sure that they're tight. Okay, and then there's your high rupture fuse, your 10 amp fuse. There's your PTC. Oops, sorry. These are your MOVs. These are your 3 MOVs. The 2 green guys are your PTCs, and then your large, you know, through-hole resistor. So, okay, so there's your provides the safety for the voltage readings and the. Let me see. There should be a bridge rectifier for the current. We'll look at it farther, but that's just what we say when we take out the back. So we just want to, and we'll go step by step here. Feels like I got to do the same thing on this one. Yeah, I heard a pop there. I guess maybe you guys did too. All right, so there's the back of and insides of this one. So this is a shield, and there's a spring right there that touches the shield, makes electrical contact. So this one actually does have a shield. That could be a shield, but we'll look for the antennas for the non-contact thing. Alright, so we have our 2 fuses, right? We have there's our 11 amp, probably the same one as that. And here's the 600 milliamp. Here's our MOVs. There's 2 of them there, and our 2 PTCs. We had 3 MOVs and 2 PTCs here, but I just see the 2 MOVs and 2 PTCs here. And they have this little, I've seen this done before too, where they wrap the PTCs, and there's a resistor wrapped up too. And I see 3 more surface mount resistors, power resistors down here. There might be, I can't tell. I might have to pop out the fuses so we can see other things. But this is the diode protection, I believe, for the current readings. But I see these poly caps up here, and I see this big old chip. Not familiar with that chip. And 2 crystals and another chip. So one's for the display, one's for all the DMM functions. Bunch of op amps. It could be A to D chips as well. So maybe we can read those parts. From this angle, well, we're going to have to look a little deeper, because this angle, God, it looks like there's a lot going on here as far as chips. Alright, it's just 2 screws, and I think this guy comes out. Yep. Okay, nice. And there's our chip here. So I think this one and this one does the same function. And then this one's probably the display, probably doing the same function as that guy. And there's a kind of a close-up. So this one has tantalum capacitors, these yellow guys. Those cost more money than the aluminum electrolytics. I think that's a crystal right there. So it's nice to see there's no aluminum caps in either one of these. This one has a bunch of ceramics with a tantalum. I think that's tantalum there. but then they have these poly caps, and there's another tantalum, so they kind of have a combination of both types of caps. Let me pull the boards out, okay? Alright guys, so I took 2 screws out of this one right here, and these 4 screws, I'm going to see if I can pull this out. Oh wait, hold on, I think I got at least, oh I think I'm going to have to, oh shoot, I'm going to have to take out all these screws I think. Oh maybe not. Maybe I only have to take this one off. Here, let me do that. Alright guys, I hope you give me a thumbs up down below because this is taking some effort. Okay, there's 2 screws there. I took this one out. I think these screws are all going to come. I think this board here is going to come off this board. I had to take that screw off too, which I got to be careful. Put this back on the same direction so I don't have to do it more than once. But that little wheel with those contacts, it looks like little gold-plated springs right there. That has to go down in the right configuration, right? I got to make sure I don't move that dial. So here, I'll put that down in here. Alright, so I hope I can take this board out now. Shoot, it feels like it's still, or maybe it's just that I have to pull against these terminals. Yeah, I think that's it. There we go. Wow, okay, there is the battery cable that's, look at this, it's got this insulative cover to wrap it there. I'm just going to hold it like this. So we got our display, we got our little membrane switch just making contact with those, of course. Here, I can just drop that in there. So there's kind of the close-up of that board. And let me point out a few things. We got a whole bunch of transistors here. We got a big diode here and a big resistor here. I wonder if that's a PTC. That might be a PTC actually. Yeah, that's what that is. So that's a surface mount PTC there. Try to get some light on it. Okay, so surface mount PTC. Here's our current shunt. Look at these solder joints. They look nice to me. Some big surface mount resistors. Another big surface mount. That's a 1 ohm it looks like. Here's the third MOV right here. And some more diode protection. And here's a spring to touch this shield. So it has a shield on the faceplate as well. And you can see the mechanism here. So I'm going to carefully, and then here, you know, so our barrels are nice strong barrels. These are nice strong, you know, nice insulative color coded things for the probes to go, you know, the banana jacks go down into. So, and you can see these metallic little dimples here. I don't know if that's just a hold, it's probably just a hold the plastic to it maybe. But yeah, you can see 2 more PTCs on this side. So wow, there's like 4 PTCs. And then MOV there. So 3 MOVs and 4 PTCs. Yeah, quite a bit of protection. So yeah, nice construction I think. A lot of safety built in. You got your deep, like right here, you got your walls that go in. And there's kind of a double layer. Like there's this one, then there's another little dimpled layer. Maybe that's just for looks. But anyway, yeah, so nice strong case. And there's our little, I guess kind of large plastic thing that holds the end, you know, when I clipped it in. Fluke has the 2 little clips here. I'll show you those in a minute. But okay, so then hopefully shoot. Yeah, I think this was up. See up here, there's some, it says DC volts, AC volts off. And I think this little thing right here was in the off position. Yeah, I think that's the way it was. So there we go. We're back together. Woo! Alright, so you can see Fluke's. This one's screwed, you know, the way it's constructed. This one has this little guy, which I don't know if I have to pop that out or not, but let's take their board out. Alright guys, so there's 2 screws here. I took out these two silver ones up here. And then these 3 screws here, I had to take, well actually there's 1, 2, 3 silver ones, those 3, and these 3 out of here. So I think it's ready to come off. One thing I wanted to point out is on the Fluke, you see how the plastic barrier here electrically isolates this from this metal thing over here? And over here there's a plastic barrier separating this metal thing from those things. Those are just high voltage attention to detail to keep things isolated, okay? And on this one, you can see there's maybe a little bit more distance between them, so that's isolation, just having distance. And also the way they did the 2-layer boards, that also offers isolation from this board to that board. And then the other thing they've done is, you can see these little cutouts here, these little ribs here, they go down around here, so they go, when you put these together, it drops down to here, so it also kind of separates things. One more thing is the fuses have these retainers on the end, so if they do move, shake, they're not coming out, right? On the Fluke, it doesn't have the retainer, but it has a wall of the housing, and it has this plastic thing, so it can only move that far, so it's contained as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and take it out of there. There we go. Alright, so there's the little knob, and here's the membrane thing. So little carbon contacts. And see these guys here that came up through the board here for that isolation. And just point out on the Ideal, it has a slots too, has a slot there. And these plastic, like the double board routine, so a little different technique to do the same kind of isolation. Oh look, there's a little bit of grease on this wheel, which I'm always interested. Sometimes there's grease, sometimes there's not. So, but there you go. This side there's really no electronics, it looks like. And it just has this little thing here that fits down into that plastic. So I'm not sure if that's quite as robust, but it's probably plenty good. It has, I want to say, yeah, this guy right here, by the way, oh, I didn't have to take that off, I guess. But this guy right here is plastic, but it's a type of electric shield. So you know how there's a shield on that one? This plastic performs the same thing. There's some kind of carbon or carbon type shielding. So I can put those screws in there. Yeah, so all I really had to do is take these off and that one, I guess. I could have left those 2 in there. Yeah, so I screwed this back in, but yeah, I looked at this plastic one time, and that's just a shield. So there's those little gray things right there. Those little 2 plastic gray things. That's what this guy mates with. Kind of a screwdriver blade there, straight blade. That little plastic, that's, yeah, so you want to be careful not to torque it too much, because it's probably pretty strong, I guess. The way the little thing ratchets down in there is similar on both meters. So, kind of see how it goes back together. I think I can put that back together with that on. Yeah, there it goes. Just slides in. There we go. So there you go. I'll just screw that back together and just trying to make sure everything's good. But yeah, the buzzers, you can see slight difference. Yeah, you can see some difference in the circuits, but similarities. By the way, I just want to say something. I see some people, saying, oh, Chinese batteries, they throw them away and they pull out their Duracells, which I don't think they're any better. I have not had bad luck with the batteries that come with these meters. And so yeah, I just don't think it's, I just like to protect the environment, use the batteries as long as they last at least, right? Just want to make sure that sucker works, that I put it on right. And it looks like I did. Let's go all the way over. Temperature. Awesome. Whew. Okay. I'll put it back together. Hey, so I did want to point one thing out. So this is a Cat 4, the Ideal, right? This is Cat 3. So this is rated for a higher voltage in Cat 3, 1000 volts, where this is 600 volts, the Fluke. And this is 600 volts for Cat 4, which that's typical of Cat 4 ratings, 600,000. And if it's just Cat 3, sometimes you see 1,000. I think there's an option for 1,000 or 600. And 600 is fairly common if it's only Cat 3. If it's only Cat 3, again, 2 PTCs, 3 MOVs. In this one, there's 3 MOVs and 4 PTCs. And as far as the physical size, these are blue and those are yellow. Otherwise, same physical size. PTCs, same physical size. So there's just 4 PTCs in the ideal versus 2 in this one, and 3 MOVs for voltage protection in both meters. But also the ideal had that surface mount PTC, which was interesting. So there's actually 5 in the ideal. You know what, guys? I was looking for the antennas. I just thought about the non-contact voltage thing, and on the Fluke, I see this little trace going up to this, mounting screw right here, and I'm wondering if that is the non-contact voltage antenna. Do you guys know? Let me know in the comments if that's true, because I don't see. Sometimes it's obvious where they are, and on this one, I see a via and this copper bar, on this trace all the way across the top. Otherwise, I don't see it connected to anything. So I think that's the non-contact on that. So left front on the, I guess it's the right front. This corner here, we'll see if that's the part that it picks up more. And on this one, maybe evenly all the way across. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I showed you this clip on this guy that clips into that. And then on this one, there's the 2 little indents down there, and there's the 2 guys right here. So yeah, I just want to show you that too. So a pretty thick piece of plastic on the ideal, but 2 separate ones here. So just different way of doing it. They both seemed like they held really well. Alright, so now I realize putting this back on that makes contact with this metal, and that's why, because I had this, not this meter, this brand new meter, but I had the other brand new meter I took apart, which that's why I thought this was the antenna, or at least function maybe both as a shield for the IC down there, and maybe also as a pickup for the non-contact voltage maybe. Hey guys, one thing I want to point out is this little screw here in the ideal is actually captured. So that's a pretty nice feature, where the Fluke, it is not. It's right here. So yeah, nice feature. The Fluke battery compartment is, I think, more rigid, strong than this one. This plastic feels a little more flexible, but still, I mean, it's a wall within a wall, so, and then it's got a nice ridge around it, so, and with the curvature, I'm sure it's perfectly safe. It passed all safety tests. Hey guys, one thing I wanted to point out, because I was just impressed with how thick this was and all that, but it's also holding the stand, right? So it has to be strong to hold the stand as well as hold the battery in. Where this, because it's just open in the back, right? So it's kind of double purpose there. So you see the stand sticking out. It just looks kind of extra thick. I don't know if I got that screwed in right. Yeah, it looks like. Well, I'm going to double check that actually. No, I think it's in there right. Kind of stands out. Anyway, this one has the stand in back. So you got this extra piece of plastic here, plus you got the rubber protection. So it's totally sealed within the rubber booty. And let me see. Maybe put it in that way. So it's totally sealed in the rubber booty, and then you have this, so you got that, so just 2 different ways to do the same thing, I guess. Let's make sure that turns back on. Yeah. Okay. I'll be back. We'll check out the displays. Alright, so here, let's just take a quick look. I just noticed how thick the plastic is on both sides of the display. It's about 5.5 centimeters, I guess. And that's a little over 6, not quite 6.5, so almost a centimeter longer. This display looks taller, but let's see. It's 2 3/4 maybe. Yeah, they're about the same, I guess. They just look different to me. I just thought about measuring them. Okay, auto Z. Auto Z. Okay, there's a beep here, no sound here. Shows low Z. Here, let's zoom in on this a little bit so you can see the display. It's kind of funny because it's a little bit harder. I don't know if this is curved. This is flat. This is a little bit curved. It's just a little harder to get the glare totally off the screen. If you kind of see how I move it around. This one, the ideal is just easier because, you know, I noticed that about flat displays. It's just they don't glare as much. I don't know why they put the curve in. I think, I don't know. I feel like they think that it's nicer display, but it always has more glare. All right. Anyway, let's get beyond that right now. So APO, that's automatic power off. AC, not sure what that little thing is. Oh, that's the auto thing, I think. Low Z, auto sense. Okay. And then showing 2 digits right now. Low Z, 2 digits. This one's showing the bar graph. This one's not for this setting. So we'll have to see when we actually read voltage. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, the glare thing's an issue. Okay. Then off. And then it's interesting how they're almost the same kind of deal. And also how this little thing sticks out. I think that's so you can grab it and do this kind of thing where on the Fluke you have the ridge on the side. So I think that's what this little wand or whatever is for. So, okay, so let's go to AC. Try to get the glare off both screens. Oh, shit. All right, so try to get it so you can see the knobs too. So the Fluke has this so you can turn it this way. I've always grabbed it like this too. Just about any multimeter you can do that. And this one has like this little extended wand, which I think that's their idea of grabbing that thing and moving it like that. So, I don't know. Like I say, 2 different ways of doing the same thing, right? Okay, there's the AC setting. Okay. And it still shows the battery here where you don't see the battery indication until, I guess, it starts going bad maybe. And then the volts. Now this one also has the blue setting for the AC plus DC. So that's usually only found in more expensive meters. Okay. Then millivolts, same thing. You got the I see the bar graphs across the top. Oh, sorry. That little thing's the beginning of the bar graph. It goes across the top. I was wondering where the bar graph was. So across here it's here. So anyway, yeah, so that's for AC plus DC. Millivolts, so they're pretty sensitive in millivolts, right? And there's a DC. So you got AC or DC. This one you have AC, DC, or AC and DC. Okay? So then you go to ohms. Okay. Capacitor on the Fluke is down here. On this one, it's right here, so I'll just show it to you now. There's capacitor. Let's go down to the capacitor on this end so you can see what they look like side by side. Okay? And they both go up to 10,000 microfarads, so that's kind of a sameness on both. Okay, then the next one over is diode. Whoops. And diode on this one here, I'll push blue, so that's your diode setting. Alright, and then the continuity, go back to continuity. There's continuity, and go up here to continuity. So that's what they look like there. Milliamps. Oops, tell me probe. Now, this one just says lead, and then it went away. Look at that. Isn't that funny? It just tells you lead for just a quick second, and goes away. This one just continues to scream at you. Look at that. As I talk about the battery being good, I've already lost 1 cell. That's funny. Wow, that just hollers at you. Okay, I'm going to have to put leads in. Holy cow. Alright, just for fun, I put them in here. Same thing, right? Okay. Look at that. Still screams at me because, okay, there we go. Woo, jeez. Alright. So that, you know, putting a meter in current and switching to voltage is a good way to, that's where the danger comes in multimeters, and this screams at you trying to tell you not to do that. Kind of seatbelts in your car kind of thing. And then, so that's your AC volts, or amps, I mean. Here, let me go down to AC amps on this, which is right here. Okay, so that's your AC amps. Now this one also has a AC plus DC. Oh, sorry, it has a hertz. So this one has hertz too. So there's our hertz setting. Okay. Then this one also has the AC plus DC. Okay, there's the DC. And okay, on this one I go down here for DC. And then I have AC plus DC on this setting. Okay, so on this one there's two different settings for AC and DC here. You know, so if you count how many functions, there's just a lot more going on here. And then we're down to volt alert. Okay, so that's volt alert. It says high right now, but I don't hear anything. Oh, there's two ranges, high and low. Yeah, that got me before. You know, the last one of these I had was so ridiculously sensitive. This one's not near as bad. That other one I had on high setting, it was unusable. Maybe I just had more energy that day. But anyway, yeah, this one's not near as bad. So this one, non-contact voltage, that's what most people call it. Is there a certain setting? Do I have to be in volts? Whoa. Oh, you hold it down, see? Right there. Shows you the flashing voltage thing. So I think that's how that works. This one also has that milliamp setting. Here, this one doesn't have milliamp. So there's milliamp, AC, and here's hertz. There's the DC milliamps, and here's AC plus DC. So wow, AC plus DC on all those settings. That's awesome. Okay, the other thing both meters have, here let's go to voltage rating, or let's go to volts DC. Okay, volts DC. Alright, so there's volts DC on both, and then you can go to range. You can manual range. Okay, and you notice I get a beep on this one. This one has a really quiet chirp. This one has a louder chirp. But manual range is nice. If you're expecting, say for instance, 60 volts or 100 volts, you can go to the range where you can read 100 volts, right? And then you don't have to wait for it to automatically switch to the range, especially if it's a transient that's there for a moment and it jumps up and disappears. So sometimes manual range is really useful. Okay, they both have min-max. Okay, there's min-max, min, average, and back to min-max. There's max, min, average. Okay, max, min, max, min, max, min. So this one doesn't have the average. Hey, there's something Fluke has. Okay, and it has a high-low range for the non-contact voltage. We're going to test that. We're going to do some testing in a minute too, okay? And this one also has smart hold, okay? Okay, so this one also has, the Ideal also has the peak hold. Here, let's hit that. Whoops, you got to hold it down for 2 seconds, it says. Okay, there's peak, max, min, max, min, and back to back, max, min. Okay, so get rid of that. And they both have a second function. The blue and yellow are the same button. Okay, the light button. Let's see if we can see a light. Okay, I'm going to turn off the max min. This light here, let me turn away my lights here. You can see how dim that is, right? Okay, I'm going to put this in the same position. Yeah, that's, hey, that's one thing you don't get a chirp on. But yeah, that's the display on this one. Much nicer than that. Here, let me turn away that light too. I'm going to turn away the lights and make it so we can see as well as we possibly can. Okay, that's what they look like. So, okay. Just move them around on the bench so you can see there's no contrast difference. It's just the display isn't very bright on this guy. I like this one. It's kind of got that nice, almost, well, in the camera it has kind of a bluish tint. It kind of does, but not really. A little bit. This is not very bright, plus it has a hot spot right there. You can see that. There's no hot spots on this one. Well, there kind of is. Along the edge here, you notice it's a little bit hotter than, well, yeah. A little bit hotter, maybe. Kind of hard to tell. It's kind of funny, the battery went full battery again. I wonder if it was because it was in current mode. It also has this temperature mode, which I don't know if I showed you that. And let me see if it changed range. I was trying to see how I changed to Celsius. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so nice. Now here, you know what? Sometimes on meters you can touch the probes together and you get some kind of reading. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty warm today, so yeah, that's about right. Okay, so there, that's kind of funny how you can do that. Okay, guys, let's do a quick continuity test. Okay, I'll try to zoom in a little bit closer on these meters. All right, so continuity. I want to say on the Fluke, anything lower than 20 ohms, it means continuity. It's pretty loud, right? So Fluke has very loud, and it's plenty fast, right? And it tells you the ohms, so all good stuff. Sometimes people don't like too loudness because they work in cubes and they do some measurements, but anyway, yeah, this one has a higher pitch. Listen to that. Kind of has a little scratchy sound. It's plenty fast. Yeah, so it tells you the ohms and it has a bar graph, all that stuff. I think this guy bar graph read too, right? So, all right, guys, I have some AC voltage here on this line. Using these to help kind of hold it down to the mat so it doesn't move around on me. Yeah, plus I got things laying on it, but I got this on volt alert, and this one you just push down the non-contact voltage. So I've got it on low range, so see, it picks it up. Picks up either phase. Okay, there's a high range, but and the high range just kind of picks up everything. So let's go back to low. Okay, so on this one, you see the little button there? I just have to hold the non-contact voltage down, and you get the flashing symbol. And then I find you have to let go to let it kind of discharge or whatever. I'm going to just touch the corner. Oh, it works there too. Okay, I didn't know. Let's try this one. Yeah, I got 4 bars on that one. Alright guys, now what I want to show you is they can actually do live voltage readings. You know, that's when you have one probe in and you just only have to touch something. Look, 3, that's interesting. Same as when I used it as a wand, right? Okay, now hold that one down. Well, I just get 3 bars, but anyway, so that's your that's a way of testing with you know, the live voltage measurement technique versus just using it as a wand. Okay, same thing here. Definitely a louder tone. I mean, just like what we've been hearing from the Fluke, when it does put out a tone that's pretty loud. That's probably why they put that foam in there, because it's so loud. Alright, just a quick AC measurement, just so you can see how the meters change. See the bar graph, I'll just wiggle it back and forth. If I don't switch ranges or go between ranges, they work well, but if I go across ranges, they, you know, like OL, and they both kind of do the same thing. Now you notice, let's see where it happens. Watch for it. Right there, just over 30 volts, you get that lightning, and you get the flashing thing here. Alright guys, I thought I'd show you the meters are capable of, okay? So right now I've got this at 60 hertz, amplitude's 1 volt peak peak, which is a half a volt peak, which comes out to about 354 millivolts rounded off, 3.53 point something. So they're both really close, but it's, yeah, 353.6, I guess, millivolts. And then I've also got a 5 volt DC offset. Okay, let's go to DC. And you can see there's a 5 volt DC offset. Okay, pretty cool, right? But there's 5 volts plus 1 volt peak to peak. So how do you read them both? Well, with this one, I can just hit this and I get AC plus DC. And it's kind of interesting how it does that, but it should be about 513 millivolts, so it's a little bit on the high side. It's within tolerance, but you know, so here's how the math works. Is you take the DC squared, the RMS AC squared, add them, and then square root of both those, okay? So here, let's just add 2 volts peak to peak. Okay, and I'll go 3 volts peak to peak. Okay, so you can see how that changes. This guy doesn't see it, just sees the DC, but it does see the AC, and saying 1 volt. Okay, they both agree there. Now we can go to hertz. It says 60 hertz. Okay, we got 60 hertz. I do like that bar graph up there, by the way. And all right, so here we go. Let's go to do the AC plus DC on this one again. Okay, there's the 5 volts. And then I'll hit the AC plus DC. Alright, so it's pretty cool, right? Now, we got 3 volts peak to peak. You know what? Let's do the offset 1.5 volts. So the AC waveform will totally be above the ground level. And let's see how that works out. Alright, so AC 1.058 volts it says. So, okay. It's 3 volts peak to peak, so that sounds about right. So it's 1.5 volts peak and then divide that by square root of 2, comes out about 1.06. So, all right, so let's go to DC. They both agree, but then again, we can do this, and we can actually see what the real voltage is, including the AC. So AC and DC. So it's pretty cool, I think. Like I say, you usually only find that on the high-end meters. All right, I want to point out something that's kind of interesting. Let's say you're reading a 3.3 volt line. Okay, so you want to hold that. So you hit your hold button, right? And then I hit smart hold on this one. Okay, so then the voltage starts to drop. And you notice this guy right here, the scale? It drops down. And it shows that the voltage is dropping. You can see the bar graphs on both of them. And then if we actually go over, this guy's kind of jumping around. So right when we hit the value, it starts to move a little bit. But look at this guy. It sets off alarm and tells you all kinds of things, saying, hey, your voltage has gone too high. So I think that's what they meant by smart hold. I thought it was like the old Fluke thing where it would automatically catch the new setting. But neither one of them do that. But that's interesting how it tells you what's going on. And if you're just dropping voltage, I guess it just says, hey dude. Now look at this. This is interesting. See how it puts a minus sign? Because I actually went negative, and so it actually is kind of telling me. So if you can read the scale, it's telling you what's going on. Over here we don't quite get that. So here, let me take it off hold. See, I'm negative 0.6. So take it off hold. So kind of interesting, right? Hey guys, so I just want to show you what a 6,000 count meter looks like, and also just notice the resolution. One thing I noticed, I really like the scale. It's almost got twice the number of digits, and that's why I think it has so much better resolution. Here it says 0 auto 6 because it's it's on the 6 volt scale. Here it says 0, 10, 20, 30. And it's just because it's up to almost 30 that's showing that. So you can almost count the voltage to the digit up here. But here, let's just increase that. See, there's like 33. And this, it's like, I guess it's not even 1020. So, it's, that scale, I don't know what it really means, because if that's 6 and this is, yeah, so I don't know what that scale means. But anyway, I just noticed that as the resolution on this is so nice. Like 442, almost 43 if rounded off. And that says 43 up there. And here, it's 1, 2, I don't know what that means. I just thought that was interesting. The bar graph was so nice. So 6,000 count, look at all the decimal spots. So when we hit 6, we're going to lose a decimal, I think. Yep. Well, on the Fluke, now a lot of times meters go over, sometimes even up to half a volt. Yep, there we go. So now we drop down. So, okay, now I'm going to just drop back down to below 6 and see where it converts over. Well, they both did it at about the same spot. So now I'm going to wiggle it around just so you can see the scales. Okay, so that's what they look like. I'll just, yeah, and then, they both do that OL thing when they change scales. So, see, we're at the 60 volt scale now, and we're there to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, almost 15 volts. So you can, right there, just hit 20 and we're 19.7. So you can round up about a half of, digit or whatever, and you can pretty much tell where you're going to be just by reading the scale there. So I kind of like that. And as far as the speed of each scale, they look like they're, you know, similar. I guess I should show the hanger, right? So it shows different ways you can use it. You latch it in here is just a little plastic thing that you can put this on a wall or something like that. Or, you know, you have this little guy up here you can screw into a wall, so it's just a fixed permanent thing. Or you can use a strap around a pipe or the magnetic deal. So that's what you get with this. And what I found is these little things like the Fluke, they're all like, look like they're pretty much made the same way. Same kind of magnet inside. And yeah, there's a strap, so you can take the magnet off if you just want to use a strap. You can use this piece all by itself if you want to. But yeah, that's how that works. And locks in there. Seems to hold pretty darn good. You can see I'm pulling pretty good. My hand's turning white. I'm pulling pretty hard. So yeah, anyway, thought I'd show you that. I suppose just to be complete, I should at least show you the K-type temperature probe that comes with it. And so it's got the plus, minus, and it's kind of interesting that they actually whitened out the plus to make it easier to see. So yeah, you just stick that in there. It's on temperature setting, and without anything, it's saying about 77 in here, 24.2. If I hold that, you'll just see it goes up with my body temperature, and switch that over. So, alright guys, so with this meter, the Ideal Industries, you get the nicer test leads with these nice little alligator clip-ons that I put on this capacitor. You get the temperature probe, the magnetic hanging kit, the case, which is a nice case, and all for more than $80 savings over this meter. You get more settings, you know, the AC plus DC, temperature, and the peak hold, and the smart hold, and a better backlight, and I think a better bar graph, almost twice the segments, and you get the milliamps with its own fuse, so you get better resolution. And with the Fluke, I think you get a better what they call the volt alert, which is what everybody else calls the non-contact voltage setting. But anyway, I think that's one thing where I think this was a little bit more sensitive, and it does have the average on the min-max, although the average is just a normal reading, I think. So maybe that's not really a benefit, because just the average readings, the average RMS reading, right? So, but yeah, so, and you get the name for $80 more without all this stuff. So let's read capacitor. These bigger capacitors take a little bit of time to read, but it's coming out 8.8. Now, I took readings with other meters, and if you wait a little bit, see how that happens. I know some meters do that. They'll start off at 8.8, and then they'll jump up to 9.2, kind of like this one did. Now it drop back down to 8.8. Some of the meters stick at 8.8. Some of them actually go up to 9.2 or 9.7 even. And see, this is kind of toggling between them, so that's kind of interesting that it does that. Most of my meters on the bench would say about 9.1. So now if I leave it there, it's kind of doing that. So Fluke's usually do a nice job at capacitance. Really, the Fluke 87 is one of the best meters at capacitance as far as speed. I don't know if the accuracy is any better, if it's even as good, but it does usually come up faster. See, this was pretty fast too, 9.1 millifarad, or so. If I hold it there, I just want to hold to see if it changes. It's kind of dropping a little bit, but like I say, most of the meters on my bench, the average was probably 9.1, and it kind of, some went 9.7, some went to 8.8. So yeah, kind of interesting that they bounced around so much. So yeah, I would give the capacitance and the volt alert to the Fluke, you know, as far as testing. But yeah, there you go. Alright guys, so what do you think? Sorry about the long video. I just thought that for meters that, you know, in the 200R or close to 200Rs, even though this is quite a bit cheaper than this one, I think for this kind of price, over $100, you know, it was worth a longer review. But it went a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Sorry about that, but hope you liked the look under the hood and all that kind of stuff, and that I showed you enough stuff that you could make a decision. So, but Ideal Industries, if you're not familiar with them, I want to say they've been around since 1919 or 1913 or something like that, for a long time. These guys didn't come around till, I believe, in the 1940s. So they were doing, Ideal Industries were doing connectors, and they were known for that kind of thing. Their tools, wire strippers, that kind of thing, way back when. In fact, they went to the moon with some of their stuff. They also, what else they do? Oh, Admiral Byrd, if you're familiar or heard of him, popular guy in the Navy back in the day, back in World War II. Anyway, he was a big fan of their stuff and wanted to use their wire strippers. So yeah, so they were known for that kind of stuff. And early 2000s, I want to say 2001, they bought WaveTech. They bought a bunch of companies, but WaveTech was one they bought, and I think that's where the instruments came from. So that's what I want to say. But anyway, American companies, both of them. These guys started in Chicago, and then they went to, and I think WaveTech was in Chicago too, but then they went to New York. So they're based out of New York. They did that in the early days, even before they bought WaveTech. So there you go. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Let me know. I want to give 2 thumbs up to my patrons. You could become a patron. Links down below. Or I also want to thank you guys that hit that thank you button and buy me a cup of coffee or whatever. That's really awesome. I appreciate that. And all you guys watching the videos. So sorry about this long video. I'll try to figure out how to make these things shorter. Maybe just clips of the dismantling or the insides. Maybe just, you know, clips of things. And I took out some of the measurement stuff because who wants to see a bunch of resistors measured, that kind of thing. So anyway, hopefully I showed you guys enough and not too much or whatever. But let me know. Yeah, I feel like it was too long, but thanks for watching. See you next time.